The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading of the Holy Gospel according to John. When Judas had left them, Jesus said, "Now is the Son of Man glorified, and God is glorified in him. If God is glorified in him, God will also glorify him in himself, and God will glorify him at once. My children, I will be with you only a little while longer. I give you a new commandment: love one another. As I have loved you, so you also should love one another. This is how all will know that you are my disciples, if you have love for one another." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
Good afternoon, everyone. Yesterday, thousands of Catholics gathered at St. Philip's Church, our neighboring parish in Pasadena, for the Pasadena Eucharistic Revival. And there were thousands of people there. And Archbishop Gomez celebrated the Mass at 5 o'clock. And after the Mass, we began a 2-mile walk from St. Philip's to St. Andrews. So picture that on Colorado Boulevard, okay? Thousands of Catholics were out there on Colorado Boulevard, and it was absolutely beautiful to see. But I have to admit, I was a little tired because we had the auction the night before, and as the walk began, it was beautiful, but part of me was like, could this go a little bit quicker, right? You know, because I'm a big guy, but it was so powerful to see. So many people out there from so many different parishes. There were about 100 people from Holy Family. So I was very proud to see that. But about 30 minutes into the walk, I have to admit that I got really annoyed. There was this very pious lady behind me who began to sing, and I have to say she had the worst voice I've ever heard in my life. Right? And you all know me. I have no poker face at all. But I was like, all right, Father, you're on camera. You got to look holy. Got to make Holy Family look proud. But as we were walking, that's all I could hear for about 10 minutes. And you know, we get distracted in prayer, do we not? And that's what happened to me for a good 10 minutes. But then God, as he always does, had a very quick way to humble me. My asthma started acting up. And I was having a little bit of an asthma attack when this very kind woman tapped me on the shoulder, the one who couldn't sing, said, "Father, here's a cough drop and a bottle of water." I felt this big. Right? Her voice all of a sudden sounded very angelic to me. But isn't that how life is? Our gospel today seems so easy. Jesus is telling us, just love one another. It seems so simple, but Jesus knows that we need help along the way. So that's why he gave us the Holy Eucharist. And it's through the Eucharist that we could truly learn to love one another. The Eucharist, my friends, is the most important meal that we'll ever partake in our lives. So when we receive Jesus in the Holy Eucharist, we're reminded that love requires service. The Eucharist is a reminder of the sacrifice that Jesus did for us while he was dying on the cross. In other words, Jesus served us till his very last breath, did he not? So we could say we love each other, but words have to be followed by action. So when we tell each other we love each other, we also need to show that we love each other. It's very easy just to tell somebody you love them, but your actions actually supporting that. So love is sacrificial. It requires service. It requires to put the need of the other before yourself at times. Love also requires humility and compassion. Jesus is so humble, he comes to us at the bread, the wine that turned into his body and blood. So humility and compassion. So in other words, Jesus is telling us, it's not always about you, okay? Or it's not always about me. I don't want to think you think I'm a part of that. Sometimes we're so self-absorbed, and we fail to look around us and say, you know what? Maybe that person's having a bad day, or I'm rushing to judge them. So the Eucharist is a reminder that humility is a part of being a disciple. Love requires us to be present to one another, does it not? We live in a culture that's bombarded by noise and culture. Your time is a gift from God. Every day that we wake up is a gift, yes or no? Yes, it is. It's a gift from God. And just to be with people, to spend quality time with others, that's why we're here today. To receive the Holy Eucharist, because we're with God's people. And we need each other. So today, after you leave Mass, what are you going to do with your time? Are you going to be on YouTube all day? Are you going to spend time with your family? I don't like the expression, Sunday is fun day. It's the Lord's day. It's the holy day. It's the Sabbath. You see how our secular culture likes to take everything over? Sunday's this holy day. It's a day to be with people that we love, to support each other, to take time. Love also requires us to seek forgiveness. We can't seek forgiveness unless we're taking care of our spiritual lives. Confession is so important as Catholics. We need to be forgiven ourselves so that we in return can forgive others. And when we receive Jesus with humility in the Eucharist, we're able to realize that we still need stuff to work on. Somebody told me recently, they said, Father, I don't really sin that much. I don't need to go to confession. I said, well, you lack humility, sin number one. His wife loved that I told him that. The more we do it, the more comfortable we get. But the Eucharist is a reminder to us that we have a lot of work to do. And when we're fed with the Eucharist, we have the courage to go to confession. And finally, love requires us to be open-minded to each other, does it not? None of us have all the answers. Our diversity makes us stronger. But sometimes instead of celebrating each other, we get jealous. We're looking at people trying to find fault in them or to control them, or we make presumptions about people. And Jesus is saying, that's not what love is. What love is to try to look at each other and say, you know what? I don't fully understand you yet, but I'm going to try to get to understand you. And even if I don't agree with you on everything, guess what? I'm going to love you again. I'm not going to, that's hard to do. So remember, our diversity makes us stronger, and we're better because of it as God's people. So this gospel was very short, but it's one of the hardest to live out because Jesus is telling us to love one another. And right now, you all look so holy, right? You all have your little Catholic halos on. But I want to see how those halos work when you're leaving the parking lot, okay? Or if you're brave enough to go to Costco on Sunday. So live out your Catholic faith. If we don't bring love to each other, who's going to do it? Love one another. So who is Jesus really asking you to love more? Who have you judged? Who maybe you've been jealous of? Who maybe has been the topic of your gossip or your chisme? Who do you hear or see and they raise your blood pressure? Love one another. How does that speak to you today? And let's really pray on that right now. Who is our Lord asking us to love even more?